Well, I don't make my work for you to interpret it. I make it for Black young people so that they can understand that we are at war, that we have to be strong-minded, that we have to be productive, that we have to be unafraid of expressing ourselves and getting what we want in this society.
But isn't there a danger in telling young people, encouraging them to be militant? Aren't you taking them down a track that can only lead to a cul-de-sac, and at the same time alienating a lot of people who really don't understand or accept or even grasp that militant language?
Well, what most people who know my work know is that I don't only teach young Blacks to be militant, I teach them to be intelligent, substantive, to make analysis. I think that America has to stop painting young Black people as being uncivilized and irrational, which is what they've done in the coverage of this story in Los Angeles. I think that we have to look at the fact that Black people didn't just run outside and burn out their houses because they were angry. The Beverly Center was wrecked, and that's in a white area. Korean businesses were targeted because that Korean woman shot and killed Latasha Harlins, and she was convicted of the crime, and she did not one day in jail. And we got 25% of our Black male population behind bars doing exorbitant sentences for small crimes, and we don't get justice. These are the reasons why people were attacked.
Describe, as you see it, the gap between those young people and the rest of society.
The gap between young people and the rest of society is that young people don't have hope. Jesse Jackson says, keep hope alive, but there is no hope because they look at the leadership, number one, and they say, okay, to get along in American society, you have to be a sellout. You have to put on a suit, talk like a white man, ask for what white people want, say what white people like to be successful. And young Black people don't see that as something that they want to strive for. We want to be able to be who we are, talk how we talk, walk how we walk, live how we want to live, and be producers and providers for our children in the future. We want to be African.
Didn't you want to go into politics once? You went to Washington and worked, didn't you?
I went to Washington and worked, but once I found out that there was no work going on in Washington, I decided that I didn't want to be part of that scenario.
What did you see? What do you mean no work going on?
What I saw was a lot of fake people, a lot of phony people. There are ways that I could intellectualize it, but I wouldn't even do that because I'm not trying to show you my skills. I'm trying to tell you the truth.
Well, if what they do is corrupt.
The thing that we have to be clear about is the definition of power. I don't consider Mayor Dinkins to be powerful. I didn't consider Marion Barry to be powerful. I don't even consider the Black woman who's here to be powerful. Tom Bradley, the guy in Los Angeles, I consider him to be pitiful, not powerful.
Who is powerful?
Powerful is when you can deliver resources, services, and substances to your people and not compromise. The only Black people who can become mayors of these cities are people who compromise with the white power system and deliver the resources to other places other than our community in Los Angeles. And I think the reason why we wouldn't be sitting here if they would have delivered the right verdict is because white people wouldn't have been hurt, white property wouldn't have been damaged, and America wouldn't have lost to the tune of $500 million. In terms of solutions, however, for young people, I see it as Black people having to put pressure on the system, continued and consistent pressure. And we need to, I'm going to tell you what for. What we need to do is get our experts together, make an economic assessment of our relationship to America, our contributions to corporate activity, and divest from America as a white racist institution. Black youth, we spend a lot of money on sneakers, we spend a lot of money on gear, we spend a lot of money on jewelry, and we're going to have to be unified. For the first time in Los Angeles, we saw unity between the Bloods and the Crips. We need that.
Yes,
we need Black
but
unity.
Sister Soldier, these two gangs out there were unified in looting the community. They temporarily abandoned their own enmity between each other and helped to ransack their own community.
That doesn't mean that I give up hope on their ability to become politically conscious. I think that Black youth have been neglected, and they've also been looted, which is why they're looted.
The nationalist must be the spine to the Black nation, not some kind of weird projection off the side of his head going off at a right angle. The nationalist must be the spine of the body of the Black nation. What the nation does, the nationalists must make them do a little better, a little faster. If it's slow, it's because we slow. understand that? But the minute you put yourself away from the people, no matter how backward and corny you might think they are, then you are isolated, standing there by yourself, and you will get killed. You will get killed, and it's not about being killed. Liberation is not about being killed. We are not interested in no suicide. We want to live. We want a new life. We want a life that we remember vaguely sometimes in the back of our heads as a liberated African people. So in Newark, what we are trying to do is create a sympathetic atmosphere in which to develop a strong, organized understanding of what the struggle is, how we must win, how can we win. Everything of value in the Black community we must control. Whoever runs for public office must be a nationalist or be accountable to nationalists. Anybody that speaks using the Black community as his base must refer and deal with nationalism and Pan-Africanism. All our politicians must do as much for us and Africans all over the world as Javits does for the Jews. You know, it's hard to be Black in a world controlled by white folks. Du Bois said we always have the double consciousness. We trying to be Black, and meanwhile you got a white ghost hovering over your head that says, if you don't do this, you'll get killed. If you don't do this, you won't get no money. If you don't do this, nobody will think you beautiful. If you don't do this, nobody will think you smart. That's the ghost. You're trying to be Black, and the ghost is telling you to be a ghost. We hope you won't submit. In Newark, when we greet each other on the street, we say, what time is it? We always say, it's nation time. We say, what's going to happen? We say, land is going to change hands. Say, what time is it? Nation time. And what's going to happen? The land's going to change hands. And you think about that. That's what it's about. Nationalism is about land and nation, a way of life trying to free itself. So the next time somebody asks you what time is it, you tell them it's nation time, brother.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live show on the forecast. Yeah, I appreciate y'all for coming on, and I don't plan on being on too long. I've been feeling off since I fell asleep earlier, but so it's kind of an open show, so y'all can come on and talk about whatever you want to talk about. And if the brother Ben is listening, he can come on and talk about his platform and some new stuff going on. What up, Truth? Talk about some new stuff going on in the tech field, things that we can actually use to get ahead. You know what I'm saying? Because, as you see, we've been having the same conversation for hundreds and hundreds of years. Like, no, not even exaggerating. Yo, what up, guy? And you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get into that. And I'm gonna put the link in the chat. But first, before we start, my brother Bakari been having a good idea about talking about Black history. Some facts that we may not know, you know what I'm saying, just because it's Black History Month. But, we need to be learning about all of this history all year round. And, you know what I'm saying, I've been working on a book where I try to document everything, you know what I'm saying. And a lot of people seem to think it's only chaos, only bad, negative things. But no, it's been a lot of positive things. So before we start, and if nobody got anything to talk about, you know what I'm saying, we're going to kind of get into that since the Super Bowl coming up. I know y'all seen what's going on in the NFL with that Black coach suing for racism. So if nobody got anything to talk about, y'all could talk about the capitalism thing if y'all missed that too. So it is what it is. But I'm gonna go ahead and talk about a couple of people. Hold on, let me pull them up. This is what took me a little while. I gotta get it organized. Hold on. Yo, what up, Truth? I can't hear you, my brother. You off mute, but I can't hear you. Go out and try to come back in. All right, yeah. So yeah, when my brother come right back. Um, I want to tell y'all first. This is one thing in Atlanta, Georgia, in 1892. Black physicians formed the National Medical Association because they were barred from the Medical Association. And of course there was a lot of black magazines and stuff like that. So hold on real quick. All right, I'm gonna show y'all what I'm saying, the screen. So the National Medical Association, because people don't seem to think that we did anything, you know what I'm saying? We had our own hospitals, we had our own, everything. So I'm just gonna share the screen and show y'all a couple of people if it ever come up. All right, so if y'all come on, I can't see for a second, so just hold on for 1 minute. Now, the history of the National Medical Association, and I'm not going to do a lot on this. I just wanted to show y'all a couple of things. It's the nation's oldest and largest organization representing African American physicians and health professionals in the U.S. Established in 1895, although they was building it in 1892. It's the collective voice of more than 30,000 black doctors. It was founded during a period where a majority of African Americans were disenfranchised, the segregated policy of separate but equal, and all of that. So, they made it because the American Medical Association was restricted to whites only, and so they created that. And the founders were Robert F. Boyd of Nashville, Tennessee. He served as his first president. Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, who I'm going to show you in a minute. And we talked about him before, but it was hard to find some stuff. So, we was out here, doing things as for ourselves as far as black doctors. Now, this is another sister named Sarah Boone. She received a patent for making the modern ironing board. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to show you this sister. And she was a dressmaker who made the first ironing board. So, there are black people who was out there doing stuff. And here you go, Dr. Daniel Hale Williams. Now, he created the first black hospital in 1893. And he performed the first open heart surgery. He had the first successful heart surgery. Was brother, you know what I'm saying? And at his hospital, Providence Hospital, like there it is. It says kind of his past, but well, we didn't have no other choice but to create that. You know what I'm saying? So um determined that Chicago should have a hospital for both black and white doctors could study, black nurses could receive training. Williams rallied for a hospital open to all races. After months of hard work, he opened Providence Hospital, the country's first interracial hospital and nursing school. So even then, when he was being segregated from their stuff, he wanted to open his up to everybody because this is just the heart of black people. And so yeah, but anyway, they're just talking about how he performed the first successful heart surgery. All right. And I don't know if y'all heard about a woman named Fanny Barrier Williams, and not to compare the two because they're two different people, but she was equivalent to like Fannie Lou Hamer, you know what I'm saying, of her day. And she was cool with Booker T. Washington, and she was a part of I think she was one of the first, or not one of the first. I think she was some major figure at Tuskegee Institute. And she was the first African American and the first woman to serve on the board of the Chicago Public Library. All right, and she spoke out at the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893, where she voiced concerns of lack of representation of Black significance in social and cultural event. Later that year, she helped found the National League of Color Women, and that's what we talked about last time with Ida B. Wells and what Harriet Tubman was a part of that. And she also helped Daniel Hale Williams, the brother we just talked about, establish Providence Hospital in Chicago in 1891. Um, she was the only African American to talk at Susan B. Anthony's thing, but you know, that's because they hated Black women and all of that. And she played a role in helping form the NAACP, but we already know how that went. So, that's that sister. And this legislator named Harry Clay Williams, I think he was in Ohio. This brother passed the first anti-lynching bill, or tried to get it passed, and they called it the Harry lynching bill or something like that. So yeah, this brother was the first one to actually pass. If people don't think that we had people in there, and there's only a couple of more. Um, Now this sister Elizabeth Lindsay Day, she was responsible for helping form the Phyllis Wheatley Women's Club in Chicago. Now, I want y'all to see what this club did, you know what I'm saying? Because they did a lot of things that we talk about doing, you know what I'm saying? Um, well, they tried to help Black women. They don't really say on this one. Let me see. All right, so she advocated for Black women's rights and girls in Chicago and throughout Illinois. Um, she was a part of that National Association of Color Women. Um, I'm trying to get down to what they did. She helped Ida B. Wells with her anti-lynching campaign. All right, here go. The Phyllis Wheatley Club sought to improve the local neighborhood. Some of its initiatives included the closure of Rowdy Saloon in Sewing School. So many people went up north. Basically, she helped Black women come up north. She gave them jobs, tried to help them with housing. You know what I'm saying? Everything that we say we should be doing now, she did in the 1800s. You know what I'm saying? And the White Mission Rose organization, they were founded by these two sisters right here. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so I can see. Yo, what's going on? Truth AA4. Yo, what's up, Bakari? What's up, everybody in the chat?
Yo, what's happening? Sorry. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now, my brother.
All right, cool. My phone is not liking StreamYard, or maybe it's just the browser. But I had hopped in because oh, and by the way, thank you for letting me on, and thank you for Brother Bakari for letting me on as well. And shout out to everybody else who's in the chat. Just sharing their ideas, and being like minds that are willing to just at least talk about it, or at least talk about these things and try and educate each other. I'm not the best talker, so anyway. But I had hopped on because there's the you have started out with talking about the cat that's suing the NFL for the lack of opportunities as far as like coaching and owning teams.
Yeah, we
And
can get into that.
no, well, you had mentioned it, so I didn't know if you had moved on to or moved on from it, or you were gonna expound on that. But it's just one thing that's always killed me about that is the fact of the matter is, like, we always talk about or a lot of us say, well, why don't we make our own leagues and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, it's like you still trying to like actually participate in the system that technically only wants you there as a black body, so you can actually make the money and not really be an owner. Because it's kind of weird that in the NFL, in the past, how many years they've been around? Over 100 years, there are no black owners. The NBA at least got like one. MLB, I don't think got any, or a couple, excuse me, in the NBA. And I always thought about it like this: like, um, there's an infrastructure already in place over in Africa that literally makes way that can make way more money than any American sport. period, point blank, because it's soccer, which is the most participating sport the world over, the most watched, the most supported. It's like, and you have teams over there that all they need is a little bit of investment, and you know what I'm saying, like a draw. Like if LeBron went over to Nigeria and was like, "Yo, I want to buy one of these teams," and overnight, money will start pouring in because people from all over the world would be interested to see what was going on over there. And it's just one of those things where it's like everything has to be done in America. It's like money. Oh, you can only make money in America, which is not true. It's just not true. But our people just have a tendency to just think that way. At least Americans, anyway. I'm pretty much
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, I feel you, my brother. And yeah, and you know what? It's kind of open show, but we'll get into that because I actually did pull up a couple videos on that just in case that be the topic. So we can check out a couple videos on that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I saw some interesting stuff that go with it, and I want y'all opinion. But yo, my brother Entwa Demela, yo, what's going on, my brother?
What's going on? What's going on? Truth 884. What's going on to the chat?
What's
Hey,
that?
I just tuned in, but I heard what the brother was just talking about, and I'm gonna tell you something, right? Do you remember when Kyrie was complaining about the players should have ownership in the league? Do y'all remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
Vaguely, yeah, a little bit.
So watch this, right? Now, if you go back and study, go over, do your research, you'll see. Even the NBA said the second best talent in the world right now is coming from the continent of Africa. They say Europe is tapped out. Now, instead of going to Africa and creating your own league, dealing with Serge Ibaka, who had already created something called building bridges through basketball, he have African countries coming together, right? He's from the Congo, and he got about 3-4 players from that's in the NBA now that came through his program from different countries, right? Now, I said all that to say, instead of arguing with these people and begging saying, let me own some of your stuff, because you can't make nobody give you nothing, right? Give you their stuff, right? So what happened? Instead of going to Africa, where the second best talent in the world is coming from, they kept arguing with white people, give me up. So then the NBA went over there and created the NBA Africa. When it was right there at the tip of their fingers. But we are so stuck on America, America this, America that. America is the greatest place in the world, whether it is or not. Everybody else leave to go do business, can leave, but black people think but we think that we have been taught that we can't do business nowhere but here. Now, if he had taken his money and got a couple of his friends, Kevin Durant, and whoever else his friends in the NBA, those millionaires come together, they could have created that league and owned that league in Africa. But instead, they allowed the NBA to go and make the play. Because everybody see what's coming from Africa. It's in sports. Look at the NFL now and look and see how many African brothers you see playing in the NFL. Look and see how many Haitian brothers you see playing. And I'm talking about playing, not just playing, they're stars. They're stars in the NFL. Look and see. There go another outlet. Our brothers from the continent is involved in the sport, right? So since they are involved in the sport, why aren't we, our millionaires, our billionaires here, why aren't they in Africa building football fields, creating your own league there? You may not be able to start off giving them millions of dollars a year. You might only be able to give them 50, 60,000 US dollars, right? But there's an opportunity for the people that's here that's not good enough to make it in the NFL here. They will have an option what we control, what our people control. And when you talked about ownership, it's only one black owner in the NBA. That's Michael Jordan. The other guy they talk about is a minority owner, is a East Indian. He owned the Sacramento Kings. Oh, they have a minority owner. Yeah, he ain't black. The only black owner, only majority black owner is Michael Jordan.
I'm sorry, was it Bob Johnson? Did he like sell his shares or something like that? Or is he
He
still
sold it. He sold his team to Michael Jordan.
it's lock, stock, and barrel to Michael Jordan? See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Michael Jordan team, right?
Well, there you go. That's one, and that's crazy to me. Like it's crazy. Because I'm a football fan. I'm like soccer football fan, huge, right? And so I noticed that because I remember watching the story. It's a Nigerian sister, right? She came to America. I think she's like a doctor or like a bioengineer, something like that. But she made a lot of money. She took her money and she went and bought a second tier team in Spain, right? Which was insane to me because I'm like, you could have took that money and literally helped finance the entire league in Nigeria in some aspect. She could have bought like two teams. Well, not two, but she could have bought a team there. And that would have been so much more helpful. But she, for some strange reason, only wanted to buy a team in Spain because I guess it's quote unquote a better investment. But what was stopping her from buying two teams? She could have bought one in Nigeria too. It's Aliko Dangote. I know everybody know his name. He been trying to buy Arsenal for like the past. Well, talking about buying Arsenal for like the past couple of years. It's like again, you can take that money and put it and leave it in your country.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
that.
and
It boggles my mind.
hey, well, I'm gonna let Bakari respond to that. Well, hey, let me ask you a question real quick, because you called soccer football. Where you from, my brother?
I'm from Chicago.
Oh, damn, like yeah, you know how it is. People call football soccer. You know what I'm saying? It's usually not Americans.
Well, yeah, I know, and it's funny because I kind of it all happened right around that time with the
Oh,
Colin Kaepernick thing,
oh
right?
yeah.
And I'm from Chicago anyway, so I grew up playing football, like American football, right?
Mhm.
So um, I had been watching the Chicago Bears like since I was a kid, and aside from the fact that they suck and they drive me nuts, the owners, we ain't gonna go into the owners, but once all that started happening, I was like, you know what? I'm not watching the NFL anymore. And it's like because I saw all the the little things. It's just like it's a throwback to like owning black bodies and buck breaking and all that stuff. So I was just like, you know what? I'm not watching it. I mean, it's
Hey,
the same for sports across the board, but
right.
I was like, I'm not doing it.
Hey, keep that in mind. I'm gonna let Bakari go ahead and respond. But yeah, keep that last sentence that you said in mind, because I want to show y'all a video and want y'all opinion on that. But yeah, go ahead, Bakari.
No, my thing is it's a whole lot that we can do. We believe being under them make us better. We don't appreciate nothing that we do unless they tell us, unless someone else tell us it's okay. We are the only people in the world where everybody else get richer than us off our talents. Think about that. The rest of the world get richer off black people talents than black people. We the only people that allow that to happen, and we're okay with it. The opportunities in America. Okay, you love America, and we talk about the opportunities. Then the next breath, we talk about how horrible it is and what it's doing to you. It's confusing. We're like, and this all around the world. When you mention that one lady, right? We black people, the men and the women, we have battered women syndrome. Do you know what battered women syndrome is, for guys? Do
Yeah,
y'all in the chat know what battered women syndrome is?
yeah, black
That's
syndrome.
that's
No,
women that go back to people that abuse them,
that
right?
I constantly abuse them. Yeah, I can beat you and beat you and beat you. You have the ability to lead, but you won't lead. But you complain about the beating. But every day you get up and go to work. Every day you get up and leave out that house. Every day you're alone away from this person for 8, 9 hours where you can just go. But you still come back home, still have sex with him, still do whatever it is you need, still proud for him to feel proud to say he's your husband. But then you complain about the beating. Black people, we have opportunities and we've had to go. Right now they're dwindling. Not, even if not all want to go, a lot of we've had opportunity, didn't take them. We stay here. I understand change is scary, but there's only one consistent thing in the world. The only consistent thing in the world is change. Change, as scary as change is, that's the only consistent thing in the world. So we are caught up in this battered woman syndrome because we refuse to change. We have been caught up into we want to complain, and that's even for the sister who bought the who bought the team in Spain. It's okay. How many since you watch soccer? It's always black players complaining about the racial treatment, the bigoted treatment they get in soccer over in Europe, right?
Yes, sir.
They always complain about it. But then when you have an opportunity to leave, we don't leave. We don't leave. And a lot of us, if we do go, we go to one of their countries so we can complain. Or we'll say it's not as bad there. It's not as bad there because it's 4 black people in that country that you're in. And that's it. We've had the opportunities, and like I say, it's called battered woman syndrome, as far as I'm concerned. That's how I see it. And I give the mic.
Yo, I feel you. I feel you, my brother. And it's interesting. Both of y'all mentioned the word owners and that in itself. And you know what another book is? $40 million Slaves. You know what I'm saying? That's something else that I guess people should probably read. But I don't know if y'all remember this video that came out not too long ago. And speaking about owners and stuff, I want to hear y'all opinion about this video right here.
Next on the auction block, we got Odell Beckham Jr. Buying $15. And then we get a 15, 16, 17, we get a $18, now 19, gonna be 20, 21, gonna be 2, 3, $24, bid 5, 6, 7, 27, 28, you're gonna bid on 9, gonna be $30, bid 1, 31, they're gonna buy $31, one, they're gonna buy $30, bid 1, 2, 2, 3, 34, 34, y'all, they're all done. So 34 to Shiny Top, $34.
Now, I don't know what that looked like to y'all, you know what I'm saying? But yo, what's up, Time to Work? But yeah, that just happened probably like a few years ago, you know what I'm saying? Maybe even doing the Colin Kaepernick thing, you know what I'm saying? Where they was actually auctioning off, like having these football players on these auction blocks and all white people at ESPN bidding on these players, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all seen it. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
yeah, what you think though, my brother? Like they was just bidding off Odell Beckham Jr.
That's ridiculous, man. It's if there was ever any point in time where white people, or the powers that be, could prove or at least say make the argument like, oh no, this isn't racist, this isn't racism. It was like that was not one of them. That was like completely a callback to buying black bodies on auction blocks on Wall Street. Like it's horrific. It's terrible. But you know what? Whatever, man. That's what they do. I'm not gonna get mad. So we should be used to it by now. That's the crazy part. Like we should be used to it by now.
Yeah, facts. Hey, Bakar, you want me to play the video again, or you want to?
No, I saw it, but I'm gonna tell you something, right? I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at the black folks that go out there and be put on the auction block. What do we have to do to understand? What do they have to do for us to understand that's who they are, right? And our people continue to do it. And our people, we are the first ones to say, you can't be racist. We are the first ones to call another black person work. They will call, I'm gonna tell you something. I've been in conversations, right? And you hear I'm gonna tell you something right now. If you hear black people constantly saying the N-word and they calling you that, and it bothers you, right? You know how if you want to make them stop, you know how you make them stop? Start talking about white people, call white people crackers. Watch how they respond. Just do it. If you don't believe me, just do that experiment one day. And you sitting in about it, then call white people crackers. Watch how they tell you racist. I said, man, but I just told you, I ain't no N-word. Oh, that's different. It's different. So man, that's who we are. It's almost like it's almost like we're domestic. It's almost like most of our people have become domesticated animals. We're domesticated to them. They have domesticated us. we don't have the strength to stand up, then look at the people that we want to follow. I know people brags on what his name, the rapper that married the white hoe, Kanye Kardashian, him. Then we'll follow that and we'll listen to that because he's a celebrity. He's stone crazy and he don't care about black, but he would be on that auction block too. See, we can show their racism all the time. We can talk about how bigoted they are, but eventually, everybody who talk about their racism and their bigotry, eventually we're gonna have to look at the mirror and look at ourselves and like, shit, what are we doing wrong? Obviously, that's who they are. We can call them Neanderthals. We can talk about everything that they have ever done. We can talk about any other people in the world. We can talk about all the negative stuff they do to us. But then eventually, you're going to have to look in the mirror and say, shit, we sat back and let them do it. It's not even their fault. This is 2022. It's not even their fault anymore. That's Odell Beckham fault, letting a white person buy him for $34. And they laughing. I don't know if he laughed, but the white folks were sure laughing. I'll get him, mate.
Yeah, with $34, my brother.
I think that's what they said. Play it again. I think they said $34.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it again. And that's another thing because this whole like I said, the $40 million slaves. Like people was making money back in the day. I mentioned the minstrel shows and how they used to make money, but you know what another sport was back in the day? How they used to make black people fight to the death, and they gave the winner, money, and let them quote unquote, extra things that other people couldn't do. All they had to do was just kill another black man. These are the American sports that we dying to get a part of, But I'm gonna play this video one more time, and then I'm gonna play the next video.
Next on the auction block, we got Odell Beckham Jr. Do I have $15? And they're going to get 15, 16, 17, they're going to get $18, now 19, going to be 20, 21, going to be 2, 3, $24, bid 5, 6, 7, 27, 28, you're going to bid 9, going to be $30, bid 1, 31, they're going to buy $31, 1, they're going to buy $30, bid the 1, 2, 2, 3, 34, 34, y'all are all done. Sold 34 to Shabby Top, $34.
Yeah, fax card, $34, my brother.
Odell Beckham, he wasn't up there. They had a pick, but he still should have said something. All the players in the league should have said something.
Yeah. They thought that was funny. Go ahead, my brother. Yeah.
I was gonna say one more thing. Something that Brother Bakari has said. Something to the effect of the whole cracker statement. Like, if you talking to black people, keep calling you nigga, and you turn around and say something, call some white person a cracker. Do you know what the funniest thing that I've noticed in my life? And I've worked with a bunch of like different types of people. I think we all have. But one thing that I've noticed, like some of the most some of the most bigoted guys, especially white guys, like they have no problems with us talking like this. They get more upset about the whole like reparations and things of that nature. And it makes you wonder at some point in time, like, are we actually, like, really, really doing a disservice to ourselves if we continue to push for these things that like the reparations and stuff like that? Because at the end of the day, you might end up getting what you want by just letting go of the things that you thought you wanted. It's a weird concept, and I yield the mic.
Hey, it's not that weird. We men, we have all chased a woman. Just let her go. Stop talking to her. Then you get. Am I lying? Stop talking to her. Leave her alone for a little while. Make her miss you. And she come around. Am I lying?
You know what?
That's why I view. So when I talk about this, I view it as a relationship because that's what it is. It's a relationship between black people and this United States government. Black people and this country. If we stop begging, please love me. Please let me spend the night. Please, please, please. You know you want to be. Just leave it alone for a little while. Leave it alone. Make them miss you. Stop giving them your money. Skip Walmart. Let's go to the Hood Mart. Huh? Skip going to get the Chinese fried rice. Let's go get some jollof rice. Make them miss you for a while. Because that's what we're fighting for. Most of our fight is to be accepted here in this country, right? So make them miss you, since that's what they want. You want to be accepted. You want these people. So make it miss you for a little while. I yield the mic.
Yeah, Bakari, black people gonna put on some glasses to cover up our black eye, you know what I'm saying? And I just fell down the stairs, my brother. But yeah, but because we see here, you know what I'm saying? And let me say, because we're going to get into the Negro leagues and all of this stuff, all the leagues that we had on our own, because there was some other information too. Like, the first black baseball game between two black people was in like the 1850s or whatever. And then, of course, like the baseball ban was in like 1888, I think, and they had to make the Negro leagues. And by the next year, they had like the Giants, or I think was the first team. But yeah, when we know like Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson and all of them people, you know what I'm saying? But, we just gonna put our sunglasses on and try to fit in with their system, you know what I'm saying? So let me play this video real quick though.
This morning, a bombshell lawsuit claiming racial discrimination in pro football. Former Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores is suing the NFL and 3 teams, claiming, quote, in certain critical ways, the NFL is racially segregated and is managed much like a plantation.
Spare me the shock. Don't be shocked that this is going on.
The Dolphins fired Flores last month after back-to-back winning seasons, but the team failed to make the playoffs. The lawsuit even accuses Dolphins owner Stephen Ross of offering to pay Flores $100,000 for every loss during the 2019 season to secure a higher draft pick.
There are a lot of accusations that obviously he has been holding on to, and he decided that he was going to file that lawsuit, which was filed today, again, seeking unspecified damages.
Flores also claims the NFL and certain teams discriminated against him and other black coaches, saying he was subjected to sham interviews, only held so teams could satisfy league rules about interviewing minority candidates. The complaint reveals text messages Flores received from Patriots coach Bill Belichick last week, where Belichick indicates the Giants already gave the head coaching job to another white coach 3 days before Flores was scheduled to interview with the team.
The fact that you have to have a rule to interview minority coaches is a problem. That's the problem. It's to create this whole utopia that everybody is equal in the NFL.
70% of NFL players are black, but there are no black owners, and after Flores' firing, only 1 black head coach. In a statement, the NFL said it will defend, quote, against these claims, which are without merit, adding the NFL and our clubs are deeply committed to ensuring equitable employment practices.
The teams named in the lawsuit include the Dolphins and Giants. They have denied any wrongdoing. There's been a long discussion about the
All right, that's irrelevant. But guess what, y'all? They didn't look at his last name and be like, oh, well, you're not a this kind of black person. No, they just looked at him and said, no, you just another Negro like everybody else. And the thing is, we crying and stuff, but like y'all been saying over and over, right? The Super Bowl is tomorrow, and all these black people getting prepared, getting their pizza and wings ready to watch the Super Bowl tomorrow. You understand? But I guess we forgot that everybody was just gonna stop watching football a couple of years ago. And this is not for Colin Kaepernick, and he's no like Muhammad Ali or nothing like that. Don't get me twisted. You know what I'm saying? But for me, when I started seeing like the owners, and then I realized like, yeah, they do call them owners. You know what I'm saying? And you own this person, and then how they do the players, especially in the NFL, because they get hurt. You know what I'm saying? And then they cut them. You know what I'm saying? All of these people be having all these brain injuries. So I'm like, yo, you know what? I'll support football again when we start having our own league, because there's no point. Because you look at damn Jerry Jones, you know what I'm saying, and all the stuff that he was saying, like these damn Negroes getting out of line talking about taking a knee. You know what I'm saying? We see how all of these owners are what they were saying about us. So no, I can't support their business until we are the owners. You know what I'm saying? But we automatically forgave them. They didn't mean it. And you know what? I can probably get a million black men to be like, we for the Dallas Cowboys right now. You know what I'm saying? And they'll have each other's back. They'll stay on code. You know what I'm saying? They'll defend Cowboys and Prescott and Zeke Elliott to the death. But when I say, oh, I need 1 million black men to stand up, it's going to be crickets. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to get nearly half of that amount. So, I mean, what kind of changes you expecting if I can get more black people to show up for the Cowboys than I can for our own lives? But, yo, I'll pass the mic, though. Either one of y'all.
All right, you know what I was doing, because you had mentioned baseball, right? This ain't the guy that I was thinking of, but I'm going to still say him anyway. Moses Fleetwood Walker. He actually played Major League Baseball before, in the White League before Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
It was another one more famous, and I can't even find him right now. I used to have stuff saved, but it was in my tablet that has been broken, and it started with an O. I cannot think of his name at all. It started with an O. But anyway, now, is that something to brag on, right? To say we were the first. When John Thompson won the national championship coaching at Georgetown and coaching basketball, and they asked him, and they asked him out, how does it feel to be the first black coach to win a national championship, NCAA championship, right? John Thompson answered, he replied he said he felt that statement is racist and insulting. Being the first black ain't nothing to brag on. That implies that there's not another black person before me that was good enough. And he was like, I know there's some before me that was good enough and better coaches than me. So don't ask me that question again. And that's how we have to stand on our square. That's how we have to stand up. And we have to stand up the same way today. And if we don't stand, we're gonna have a problem. And it's just that simple. Leo, I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna pass. Leotis Brown put in there, Kaepernick is no black man. Agreed. He's mixed. Now I'm gonna tell y'all why I didn't truly follow the Colin Kaepernick thing. I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna go because I just saw that, right? Not that I have a problem with Colin Kaepernick, but everybody in the chat and on this panel know who Marshawn Lynch is, right? So if you know Marshawn Lynch, put a 1 in the chat if you know who Marshawn Lynch is. Now, go back and look and see Marshawn Lynch never stood for the flag. His whole career, he was set down because of stuff that has happened to his people. He never stood, but they never put the camera on him. Never. But as soon as a mulatto take a knee, they put the camera on him. And when was the last time you heard from Kaepernick after he got his money from ESPN, from the 49ers, I'm sorry, because a lot of people don't know that he ended up getting his money. He ended up about $15 million from the 49ers. Then he got money from Nike. He had a Nike contract. You haven't heard from him since. He went off for black people and started saying, started talking about people of color. He started talking about the homosexuals. He went and joined Black Lives Matter. But the one who was doing it first, who stood his ground in that interview, and they was talking to him, trying to make him look bad. And he said, if you want to know what I'm doing, come to my hood where I'm out here where I'm helping my people. Come to my hood and I'll answer any question you want to know. And before he said out, what are real Africans at? I want some Africans to ask me a question. But they took the camera away from him and made him be a villain. But then they put it on Kaepernick, and you thought they was making him be a villain, but in essence, they were making black people love him. It was all a trick. Maybe Kaepernick was real. I don't know, but I'm just telling you, I'm been a big football fan. I remember Marshawn Lynch from when he played with the Buffalo Bills. He was in a car accident and a woman that I knew beast mode was good then, before he was calling himself, or they were calling him beast mode. Ask yourself why they never put the camera on the black man with a black mama and a black daddy, who say, when you come to my neighborhood and see the work I'm doing, I answer any question you want. Who want to know? If you want to ask me a question, what are real Africans at? I want to talk to the real Africans. Ask yourself why they never put it on him. I'll yield the mic.
All right, yeah. Truth 884.
Yo, that's because Marshawn Lynch is just he's something else, man. Like I don't. It's not too many brothers, especially in professional sports, that stand up like he like him. I can maybe like think of like a couple. Like you had what's it Mahmoud Raouf, Abdul Mahmoud Raouf.
Yes.
Man, I'm at a loss because it's nobody that just like sit there and like really jump out at you. It, he different. I think he from California too. So I think he from like the Bay Area. So you know what the brothers in the Bay Area like. So yeah, he different, man. Look, they're not trying to mess with nobody like Marshawn Lynch like that. Like that. As long as he making Subway commercials, and things of that nature, he being behave because for business purposes they mess with him. But yeah, you know what? Well, we know why they didn't put the camera back on him, but he been that stand up dude. He has never ever backed down, and it's for some strange reason, for as many people like what's it called, like I think it was like Eagles fans that was complaining about Michael Vick and the dog situation. For those type of people, that type of person, they never complained about a Marshawn Lynch. So it makes one wonder, like, will they even ignore certain things just because it provides them entertainment? Like even they'll turn a blind eye. I was like, well, he said some back to Africa type stuff, and it don't matter because he on my fantasy football team and he getting me like 200 points a week. Like, well, they like. I think it's just they're willing to ignore certain things too, as long as it's beneficial to them. And I yield the mic.
Hey, Forecast, before you go, let me say this. And when he was talking about how they deal with Marshawn Lynch in business, I want us to understand, looking at Marshawn Lynch, look at his Subway commercials. You must understand, if you're a strong man and you stand on your square, it's amazing how he stood on his square and they still respect him, right? It's amazing how he stood on his square and didn't back down, but they're still Subway still giving him their money because they know people still love him. When I was talking about doing something in Haiti, all in Haiti, building football fields, soccer fields, doing it in his community in Oakland, California, creating parks, building bought land, built parks for the people in his community to go to where he from. He stood on his square and they still dealt with him out of respect. They don't like him. They don't know, but respect him, and they know we respect him. You understand? They know we love him. And they know if they put him there, they can use him to make some money. And he getting his money too. I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna pass it. When you mentioned Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, right? No NFL, no NBA player stood up with him, right?
Nah,
But I'm gonna show you
not at
something.
all.
And I didn't believe this. And Forecast, I'll send you so you can play it. I'm gonna find it and send it to you while we on air. Did you know Michael Jordan stood up with him? Stood up for him? They never showed that. It's amazing how you can find that interview now, 30 years later.
I missed that one, and I'm from
It's
Chicago, so I'm a Bulls fan,
yeah,
and
what
I,
I'm saying,
I
it's
grew up in that
amazing.
area. So
Yep, and it's amazing how you can find that video 30 years later where Michael Jordan stood up for him.
that's crazy. He be. It's weird. I'm not saying that he's like one of the last people I think would do that, But he's not one of the first people to come to mind that I would think that would do something like that.
I've been watching this documentary on Michael Jordan. Everybody went crazy over the one he did showing how great he was when he was playing in the league, right? I can't even think of the name of it. But I saw a minute. I didn't even watch that one. You know, the one he did a couple years ago, talking about when he was with the Bulls.
Was that the Last Dance?
Yeah, I didn't even watch that documentary.
I didn't either.
But I watched a minute documentary on him about 7 years ago. Did you know Michael Jordan came out and Michael Jordan said, you know, talking about how black athletes are treated? He said, but we don't talk about how the black people who went to college, who ain't playing professional sports are treated. And he was showing this one agent. He was a black guy. He was like, look, they giving him $70,000 a year and white people making $200,000. So whatever business it was Michael Jordan had, Michael Jordan hired him and gave him what he deserved. And then every other business that he had, Michael Jordan was hiring people that graduated from HBCUs because he said he know they're not treated right by other people.
I didn't know that.
It's amazing how they don't put that out. That don't take away some of the cooning that he have done, but it also showed that there's another side of him. You understand what I'm saying? But they don't want us to see that side. Michael Jordan,
they don't.
Did people know Michael Jordan was putting clinics up in black neighborhoods? He said for elderly and people that can't afford insurance and they're paying the doctors, right? So people can go to that clinic and get checked on for free in black neighborhoods. Did people know that? He started with the first one being built in Charlotte, North Carolina, where he was from.
Nah, I didn't know that either.
And this is not me trying to act like Michael Jordan is the greatest activist. This is just me showing something that forecasts always, you know, the coon thing can be a slippery slope. Don't take away from some of the stuff that he have said or done, the bad stuff, but you can also sit down. I ain't gonna keep talking about everything bad that he did. I'm gonna mention some of the good stuff he did. I'll hear the mic forecast. I'm gonna find a video and send it to you.
All right, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And yo, speaking of you know what I'm saying, the coon stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all both mentioned some good points, and I agree with what y'all was saying. But speaking of the coon stuff, I don't know if y'all seen what black players, because Bakari, you talk about what happened in boxing, how the black fighters side with Bob Arum, and the same thing in basketball, the same thing in football, you know what I'm saying? So I want to show y'all a video because I want to hear what y'all got to say about this. And first I want to show this real quick because I want to show y'all how on time it kind of be and how everything lined up. I ain't pulled this video up until we was live, but if you look right here, where the brother Jay where his name is, and they got Tiki Barber's name right here. But I want you to see what y'all got to say because your boy Tiki Barber, speaking of the coon thing, was you know, getting emotional defending the owner of the Giants, you know what I'm saying, against this brother. So let me play this video.
Former Giants star Tiki Barber is among those pushing back against suggestions the Giants are racist. He choked up during his radio talk show, recalling his visit to one of the team's owners on their deathbed years ago.
So it was our off day, and I remember this. And I get emotional when I think about this because why me, right? I went to his bedside. He's still alive at this point. And I just tell him, thank you for making me a Giant. And, you know, the fact that the Maras, and I always said this with the Tishes as well, like they embraced me like I was family, you know what I mean? And so I know them intimately. So when I say I don't believe they're racist, it's because I know they're not.
And Tiki Barber's co-host, the Tiki and Tierney on WFAN Radio. He joins me now. Thanks so much for being with us. How do you think the Giants have gotten themselves or found themselves in the middle of this lawsuit? Obviously, a very different experience than you had.
Yeah, well, I think it's really hard to understand the emotions of Brian Flores until you see this emotion. Like, I can't tell him that his truth is not real. He felt like he was going into an interview where he actually didn't have a chance. But Bill Belichick is not a member of the New York Giants staff. He has no intimate knowledge, and he was making an assumption based on something he heard from somewhere else, I'm assuming. But I do know that the New York Giants went through the process correctly. Maybe they had a favorite in Brian Daboll, who they ultimately hired as their head coach, who is the white offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. But we know for a fact that John Tisch reached out to Brian Flores right after he was fired and said, don't take a job. We have interest in you. Is the Rooney Rule somewhat broken? Absolutely. I think it injects candidates way too late in the process, 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He just said they told that brother not to take a job because they want to interview him, knowing that they already had the person they was going to hire. But yeah, I just
Hired
caught
as their
that.
head coach, who is the white offensive coordinator from the Buffalo Bills. Take a job. We have interest in you. Is the Rooney Rule somewhat broken? Absolutely. I think it injects candidates way too late in the process, 3 or 4 days before a team has to make a decision. So it needs to be amended in some ways. But to blanket call, generalize that NFL teams or executives within those teams are racist is a generalization that will always be wrong, because you can't just say that based on what history has shown us as far as hiring is concerned. And you know this, Anderson, because I'm sure you studied it like everybody else. The Rooney Rule is not working for head coaches, but it is working for other parts of NFL hiring. A few years ago, there was one black general manager in the National Football League. Now there are 7. And I think the process is working on the executive level. It still has a lot of work to do on the coaching level, but I think it's too harsh and too incendiary to say that just because there aren't enough black head coaches, that teams in the league is racist in general. It's too generalized.
One of the points that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was making earlier was that he believes the NBA over the last many years has done a much better job of increasing the level of diversity the higher you go in organizations and the executive ranks. Why do you think that we haven't seen that kind of a rise in the NFL?
I think in the NBA, I don't want to say it's easier, because that's discounting how hard it is to be a head coach at any sport, really at any business that you're in. But I think in the NBA, you're seeing a lot of coaches step right off the playing court and get into coaching, and not too soon after that, they become head coaches. Ty Lue, who won a national championship, or an NBA championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers, is a perfect example. And the NFL is a lot more nuanced. It's a lot harder. It's a more detailed path to go from a position coach, say after you step off the field, into a coordinator position to ultimately a head coach and becoming one of those hot head coaches. It's also a more difficult job. Instead of worrying about 15 guys, you're worried about 53 active man rosters, or spending 16 practice squads, not to mention the logistics of hiring a very diverse, sometimes up to 30 coaches on your staff. And it's not for someone to just step off the field and walk into. So the NBA has made great strides. We're up to 43% of black coaches. The NFL's not there yet, but I do think they're starting to make some strides. When you look at the pool of black defensive coordinators and offensive coordinators and special teams coaches, it's probably somewhat closer to generational.
It's interesting because, I mean, you look at the corporate world and many businesses, the media businesses and others, there's a real issue of diversity, a problem of diversity in newsrooms and diversities in the leadership positions and in the boardrooms, certainly. And we see this around companies across the United States. With the NFL, though, I mean, one of the arguments, I guess, made in the corporate world is that if there's not a pool of employees, diverse pool of employees at all levels early on, then you have a less of a pool to make it up into boardrooms. In the NFL, there is a very, the majority of players are black or some other minority group. And therefore, there is a large pool of people who theoretically should be able to make it through that hierarchy. I mean, you said it's a difficult route. And I don't know enough about it to quibble with that, but it's certainly a big pool of potential people down the road.
It is. We talked about this, me and Brandon Tierney, my co-host on Tiki and Tierney. We talked about this today, because when I think about who becomes head coaches in the NFL, generally speaking, it's the quarterback. For generations, blacks didn't play quarterback. It was frowned upon. They were asked to change positions. But 2 of the last MVPs in the NFL have been black quarterbacks. And you look at some of them coming out of college this year. Malik Willis, for example, from Liberty University. Most people don't know who he is, but he's going to be a first-round draft pick as a black quarterback. That wouldn't have happened a decade ago. So I think it's starting to change, and the pool is getting larger for those positions that generally rise into coaches and coordinators and things of that nature. It's not perfect, Anderson. We all know that. But I don't think it's as racist as it's being put out there from some of these, especially this lawsuit.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, there you have it. Tiki Barber said ignore all the history and all of that kind of stuff. Now, it is what it is. But yeah, any of y'all brothers got something to say about what he was just talking about?
Hey, that's that Virginia blood forecast. I got to watch you, man.
Hey, nah, right. Hey, I might gotta look up his brother. I don't think his brother be saying stuff like that.
No, you know what? His brother played at Tampa. I got family live in Tampa. They say when he talk, he might be worse.
Damn.
Who,
Hey,
Ande?
are they African? Because I looked him up. His name is Ateem Kiambu Barber. Are they
I don't know.
African?
Not that I know of, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I
Continental?
mean, he would be considered a black man probably.
Yeah, but I was just wondering if like one of his parents were because his name is Ateem Kiambu Barber.
Oh, I don't know.
Or they could just have parents that was just like, hey, you know what? I want to give my son this strong black name. And it
And then
didn't
it
turn out
backfired.
well.
It backfired on him.
Hey,
But yeah, go ahead.
hey, forecast! I sent you that video whenever you get a chance.
Oh,
Start
where you
at
send
2.
it to?
I emailed it to you.
All right, go ahead. I'm gonna get it now.
And you'll have to start at 2:40. Go ahead, Truth. Go ahead.
It was one thing that Tiki Barber said about the NBA, the NFL being different. There's one thing that I know that's way different about the NFL and the NBA, and that's the players' unions. The NBA player union is way stronger. Excuse me, NBA players' union is way stronger than the NFL players' union. So at the end of the day, a lot of those NBA players are closer to having like more say so within the NBA just because their union has more influence. And that's it.
Yeah, the NFL had the dumbest players union, but you got to think about. Look at the type of people they vote as vote in as like Ray Lewis was the president of the NFL players union. Oh, and everybody knows the type of person Ray Lewis is. Oh,
And
Ooh,
Bakar, you
Ray
notice how
Lewis.
all of these players be like, yo, my owner, I was sitting by his bedside. They be ready to die for this dude, almost like the we sick boss kind of mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they literally call them their owners, and they be ready to live or die for them. I guess because they give them, checks, but they don't realize the billions of dollars they making off them. You know what I'm saying? And the billions of dollars that they would be making if they was doing their own thing. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I think they know that they know, they just don't care. It's like once you get to a certain point, it's like, well, all my needs are met. I'm getting fed. I got this. I got that. Life is great. They can make the bulk of the money because I'm still getting paid, and that's seemingly the case for everybody. But that's a very human thing when you stop and think about it, because the vast majority of people, they like their lives simple. And I'm guilty and to an extent myself. But for the most part, like most people like their lives simple. It's like I go to work, I do my job, I clock out, I go home, and I do whatever I want with the rest of my day. I get back up and do it again, and that's fine for some people. But even it's clearly the same for them, because no matter how much money they make, a lot of people don't want to step on toes because they know which side they bread is buttered. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Well, you right about that. They know where their bread is buttered, but they go out the way to step on our toes. You know what I'm saying? Not them. They go out the way to not step on their toes, but they do that to us. But Bakari, hey, where you want me to start the video at?
started around like 2:40.
Okay. All right, hold on. I'm about to share real quick, and just say when you get to the end, when to turn it off. All right.
Focus in terms of what we ask him to do.
Michael, ever since Friday night, do you have any thoughts on what's going on with Muddy Federal Road and what has happened over the last 24 to 48 hours?
I think that's a personal, I guess, thought that he must more or less approach and decide upon. I mean, This is a world, or the United States is a place where, we can practice any kind of religion. It's never really been forced that we have to practice a certain religion. And here he is, he's practicing his religion, and he has certain views about, certain things. And is it something that we should judge? We should question him about? I beg to differ a little bit, with that. I think if it's been going on for 60 games now, pretty much all season long, a solution either could have come out of this without getting it to this point where, it may jeopardize his career. Quite naturally, it may jeopardize the NBA's reputation. But I think a problem is going to have to come out of this. I mean, a solution has to come out of this, and I don't know if you should ask the guy to certainly go against his religious beliefs, and I think if he believes that, then we have to honor that and hope that it's not something that's going to deteriorate the league's whole perspective of what it's all about. And
your thoughts on the NBA rule as it applies to that?
I think everyone understood the rules, and I think when you sign a contract, it's very evident that that's a part of the rules. If it's a rule, but I don't think a player of his stature who considers the situation to be something against his religion, it could be a compromise somewhere. And I think it should have been that without it getting to the focus of the public. And right now, no matter what the decision may be, you have certainly the public awareness is pros and cons right now. And I'd much rather seen it dealt with in a private situation so that no one knows. And there's going to be some pros and cons opinions about it, and he's going to certainly have to deal with some of the negativism that comes out of this. And some people are going to look at it in a positive way, standing up for what he believes in. And I'm never against it. I believe if he believes in what he believes in, he certainly should stand forward and deal with the repercussions of it.
Michael, back to the Scotty situation.
Okay, that's it right there. Hey, Truth 884, being from Chicago, why did it take so long for us to find Michael Jordan stand up for a black man like that?
You know what? It's funny, but I think I think I actually remember that now. I think it jogged my memory, like for real. And it never back then, because I was like like in grade school, so that didn't resonate with me because it flew over my head because I was so much younger. But I do think I remember that. Yeah. And why? Because he's actually supporting people. It's like one of those things that fly on the radar or it's like not flies on the radar, but it's one of those things like kind of sort of hit a day going tomorrow. And it's just like, oh, well, that's just Michael Jordan speaking on something in a very diplomatic way. And he got about 1 bazillion and one other interviews out there in the world. So it is what it is. It's whatever. And it's just one of those things that kind of sort of get tucked away in the memory banks and you forget all about it.
Yeah. Now, the sad thing is, I'm going to say this and I'm going to pass the forecast. Our people love celebrity so much. Just imagine how many black people would have stood with Raouf if they would have heard Michael Jordan say that. He got the right to stand for what he believed. I'm not against that. The league should have came to a solution. He's not doing anything. Just imagine how many black people would have changed their mind if they heard Michael Jordan say that. Go ahead, on you the mic.
Yeah, that's a fact. And yeah, I agree with y'all saying. And so I'm gonna go ahead and share the last video and then probably wrap it up after this. Let me see, because I want y'all, because we did talk about the baseball thing a little bit, because it's not just one field, and it's interesting how we fight to be a part of something else that don't want us when we could create something better. And now we are, what I'm saying, in these leagues, most of the players, but none of the owners or the people making the real money, in these organizations, they have to vote to let another owner in. So but let me play. This one was from back in the day.
You're still in baseball. Why is it that there are no black managers, no black general managers, no black owners?
In the wake of the Brian Flores lawsuit against the National Football League, the following resurfaced.
And I guess what I'm really asking you is to, peel it away a little bit. Just tell me, why do you think it is? Is there still that much prejudice in baseball today?
No, I don't believe it's prejudice. I truly believe that they may not have some of the necessities to be, let's say, a field manager or perhaps a general manager.
You really believe that?
Well, I don't say that they're all of them, but they certainly are short. How many quarterbacks do you have? How many pitchers do you have that are black?
Yeah, but I mean, I got to tell you, that sounds like the same kind of garbage we were hearing 40 years ago about players when they were saying, not really cut out. Hey, you remember the days, hit a black football player in the knees, and no, that really sounds like garbage. If you forget what I'm saying so.
It's not garbage, Mr. Koppel, because I played on a college team, and the center fielder was black, and then the backfield at NYU with the fullback who was black. Never knew the difference of whether he was black or white. We were teammates. So it just might be that why are black men or black people not good swimmers? Because they don't have the buoyancy.
And just like that, Al Campanis showed the very prejudices he claims to not hold in the span of roughly 1 minute. Campanis, a general manager between 1969 and 1987, a Dodgers scout and scouting director for 20 years before that, played a pivotal role in the Dodgers' excellence from the 50s through the 80s. He went on Nightline with a young Ted Koppel and journalist Roger Kahn, author of The Boys of the Summer, who had also ghostwritten a column for none other than Jackie Robinson. The whole reason for his appearance to mark the 40th anniversary of his former teammate breaking baseball's color barrier.
Aaron continually faced obstacles white players did not, including death threats while approaching Babe Ruth's career home run record.
I was surprised to read in what should have been the most exciting period of your life. You're chasing Babe Ruth's record. It wasn't.
It was not.
Why not?
I couldn't go out of the ballpark without an escort. I had to stay in another hotel rather than staying in a hotel with my teammate.
Hank Aaron, one of the greatest pro ball players of all time who dealt with racism every step of the way in his Hall of Fame career, said at the time of Campanis' racist remarks, "I don't think this was a slip of the tongue. I think Mr. Campanis is an educated man, and I think people like this don't have any place in baseball. I think he should apologize to every black person in America for what he said. Mr. Campanis said some things that most people in his position think."
Well, let me just say this, Mr. Koppel. How many executives do you have on a higher level or higher echelon in your business?
Yeah,
in TV.
You're absolutely right.
Or anchormen. How many black anchormen do you have?
Fortunately, there are. Yeah, fortunately, there are a few black anchormen. But if you want me to tell you why there aren't any black executives, I'm not going to tell you it's because the blacks aren't intelligent enough. I'm going to tell you because it is that whites have been running the establishment of broadcasting, just as they've been running the establishment of baseball for too long, and seem to be reluctant to give up power.
As Craig Calcaterra of NBC Sports put it, Campanis and Jackie Robinson were not only co-workers, they were friends. And Al was not thought of as a racist man by his contemporaries, or if he was, the public didn't know about it.
We have scouts in our organization who are black, and they're very capable people. I have never said that the blacks are not intelligent. I think many of them are highly intelligent, but they may not have the desire to be in the front office. I know that they have wanted to manage, and some of them have managed, but they're outstanding athletes, very God-gifted, and they're very wonderful people, and that's all I can tell you about it.
Roger Kahn, I must say I'm flabbergasted.
Aren't we?
All right, so there you have it. You know what I'm saying? It's still the same argument. Black people don't want no management jobs. You know what I'm saying? We don't want none. But the funny thing is, if Jackie Robinson stayed in the Negro Leagues, he would have been a hero, just like Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson and all of these other players who were 100 times better than all of these other teams. Like I remember is a movie 43, you know what I'm saying? The last scene, like one of the last scenes at the end, is a black college, and they were going up against a white college, and Terrence Howard was the coach or whatever. And the black players was like, yo, how we gonna play this white team? What are we gonna do? They so organized, they do this. And Terrence Howard said, "This is basketball. You're black." You know what I'm saying? And they was so worried. And of course, in the movie they ended up crushing them. But that's the irony about it. You know what I'm saying? If Jackie Robinson ain't have to go through none of that, if he would have stayed in the Negro leagues, and who knows what we would have today, you know what I'm saying? Just in the Negro leagues. And that's in everything, because it was football, all kind of sports, boxing, and we need to do a history of boxing show too, Bakari, because it's a lot of good things in that. But I'll pass the mic to y'all brothers.
So it's the funny. Okay, so in that interview with the I can't think of his name. I can't pronounce it, Costage or whatever. He said one thing that was kind of funny. He was like, "Why do you think black people can't swim? Because they're not buoyant." Which I was like, I kind of laughed at. I was like, "That's stupid." Like literally, the first people to probably swim ever were black people. Like seriously. So that just goes to show, what people thought of and still think of. But as far as the overall sports thing, I totally forgot where I'm going. I'm gonna pass the mic because I lost my train of thought.
All right, hey, Bakari, let me say this before you go, my brother. And by the way, because he mentioned that hitting black football players in the knee, you know what I'm saying? That used to be a thing back then, because it wasn't like it was. Once you got a knee injury, that was it, And a lot of black players, especially in early college football when they first started, and in the NFL, and up until today, I don't know if a lot of y'all, I know probably y'all heard of that white boy Bill Romanowski and stuff, that savage dude. He used to aim for people's knees and stuff like that. And that was a strategy they used, to take out black players who they thought would be better, or, would be the number one player. But yeah, go ahead, Bakari.
You know what? He was speaking his mind. Do y'all remember Jimmy the Greek? Jimmy the Greek said black people are better athletes because of the way we were bred. We were bred like animals. Our muscles and our everything and our legs, that's why we were better running backs and better athletes, because they were bred to be so.
I think I remember something like that. That name Jimmy the Greek definitely sounds familiar.
Yep. That's what he said.
I'm not surprised. Oh, I finally got my thought back. So what I was thinking was, as far as like the Negro leagues and the comparison with baseball, what I gather probably would have happened even if the Negro leagues had stayed around and never integrated. Um, I've noticed that, like, especially when it comes to sports, since it's like an investment for uh, the white owners, they're extremely risk averse. No matter it's like rich dad, poor dad, all that the talk and rhetoric that they have around investment and making money and stuff like that, they're extremely risk averse, which is why sports are run the way they are run in America. So eventually, just like with the NFL and the AFL becoming like one league, it probably would have ended up becoming one league because they would have seen that it's like, hey, there's money to be made, and these players over here are great for business. And I don't give a damn if they black. I don't give a damn if they blue, purple, green, whatever. I want them to play because they're going to bring me more money. And that's probably where it would have went. Because I mean, at the end of the day, who wouldn't take a payout? You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you're the Negro League, you probably would take that money. It would just look different.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, my brother, but it is a big difference when somebody begging to be a part of somebody else's system and somebody negotiating as far as business, you know what I'm saying? The amount of
Certainly.
power you hold, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Like,
Yeah, that's a good
that's
point though.
definitely different.
Yeah, that's
No
a good
doubt.
point though, my brother.
But I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's entertainment. It's a means to make money, and a lot of people automatically disregard the fact that it is a means for a lot of people to improve their lot in life. But obviously, it can't and shouldn't be the only way, and it's definitely not it's not great when you don't have any input in the way things are run and the way things go. So if you know that they're extremely resistant to that, at some point in time, it's like you either say, "Hey, I'm just gonna go all in, and I'm about to start doing, you know what I'm saying, buck breaking and dancing and shucking and jiving," or you just gonna be like, "Hey, man, it's probably time for me to, you know, quit my job and go start my own business, so to speak." And I yield the mic.
All right, Bakari.
I mean, I'm just glad you let me on here, man. It's been an interesting.
Yeah, hey,
And
hold on, yeah, because I'm about to let y'all close out, but I want to ask y'all a question as we close out too, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I want to ask y'all like some solutions for the brother trying to get a head coaching jobs or just solutions in general. You know what I'm saying? If you have any, and then close out and take all the time you need.
you talking about Brian, the Flores guy?
Yeah, it could be him. It could be just anything.
Nice. I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
you go ahead. No, sorry, I apologize. No, I was gonna say, as far as like I like the solution, the question about solutions. We, we need, like, we definitely need to always, bring it back to that, or at least go to that direction. But anyway, as far as like a solution for him and the overall situation, it's no, I personally don't find anything wrong with getting money or getting paid, especially when you taking money from that institution. Uh, but I think that I would hope that at some point in time you would get more conscious minded people. It's like, wait a minute, it's not just about making money. You know what I'm saying? It's also about investing money. So if we can take some of this money and start putting it into places where people can, start creating their own paths, that would be great. But I highly doubt it, because what I'm saying, like, you got all these athletes, black as the night is black, and they chase Becky's. It's like, and they get their money right back to the owners and everybody else involved. So, you know, hopefully, they just start investing in things that help the community where they come from. Because most of them, they come from places where it's like impoverished or whatever. So that would be my solution, or at least an idea. And yeah, and creating your own. That's also a great one too. Thank you, Brother Leotis. And I yield the mic.
Hey brother, do you got a YouTube page?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't. I just comment, you know what I'm saying? Like, or I don't even comment. I just recently started commenting. I just been paying attention to brothers like y'all, and just soaking in as much as I can, and just trying to share all this great information that I've been learning, and with people around me, as even if they're resistant, I'm just like, yeah, look, check this out, check this out, check this out. And I'm just trying to, to share the wealth. So, but if I do ever make a channel, or what I'm saying, partner up with somebody else to make a channel, then I'll definitely share it.
Okay, yeah, thank you, my brother, and I appreciate you for coming on, my brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Bakari.
Look, man, I thank you for letting me on, man. This was a excellent show, a great show. It was a great topic. And at the end of the day, we still have to look at and see what we have to do. We have to look at us, right? I understand. I understand that brother want his money, and he should want his money. But he has put in work to be a good coach. He's the one that's talking. Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator for Kansas City Chiefs. See, people not talking about him, but Eric Bieniemy said he knew they just called him in to meet their quota. Byron Leftwich who played at Jacksonville, offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They said they was interested in him. He said he wanted a certain GM, which was a black GM. Jacksonville Jaguars decided to go another way. Now the question is, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Can we expect those people to step away from their $20 million, their $5-10 million a year job, and they have built a lifestyle of making $5-10 million a year? When most of us out here won't step away from our $25 an hour job. And I know people say it's different because they have so much money and they should have some saved up. But in all honesty, it's really no different because our lifestyle is based off what we make and their lifestyle is based off what they make, right? So the only way it's going to work if all of us stand up. Do we need them to stand up? Yes. And when they stand, are we willing to stand with them? Yes. We need a real brother to stand and lead the way for them. And it's just that simple. Stop voting in people like Ray Lewis for the Players Union president. You know, vote in somebody who's going to stand with you, who have your best interests. We're going to have to stand. It's a fight. We're at war. People don't like to say it's a war, but we're at war. But there's one side that's not fighting back. We're fighting back by, we think praying is fighting back. I be listening to this guy. My first come on, you know, I always play music. And I play this song called Believe. And Big Crit say, all we do is believe. That's all. Believe. We got to get off our knees. Believe. That's all we good for. But we're better than that. We're better than that. It's time to make a stand. So what are we going to do? Even though Brandon called out Brian Flores talking about racism, and you look up and he got a white wife, then all his lawyers are white, but he's talking about racism. Why didn't you get a black lawyer? You know, but still, I understand what he's saying. You can't say they're racist against you, then you don't even hire your own. Think about it. I yield the mic. And Forecast, thanks for letting me on. Peace to everybody in the chat. This your boy Bakari, Entwa de Mela, Swahili for he who greets with fire. My channel is Brother Bakari. Peace, one love.
Yeah, facts. And yeah, that's Brother Bakari, you know what I'm saying? And that's his channel. Make sure y'all definitely subscribe. We got a lot of good conversations in his you know, and let me say this, you know, as for a solution, you know, we already know what the answer is, but it's like really deeper than that. It's really like a mentality thing that has to switch, because people like Ice Cube tried to make a black basketball league, you know what I'm saying, or a 3-on-3 league. I'm pretty sure they would have been inclusive at some point, but you know, we didn't support them. Like, I'm not defending Whoopi Goldberg or Nick Cannon for the stuff that they do in their corner, but when someone like Abdul Rauf, when he tried to make a stand, and even though he was talking about power to all the people, no, there was no black people to support them. And far too often when black people stand up, you know what I'm saying, we don't have people, as far as the community, we don't offer them enough support, you know what I'm saying? And that's really the only difference, because the only difference between now and when they had the Negro Leagues is the illusion of inclusion. You know, we was willing to we was willing, I'm gonna say we was willing to get called N words and all of this kind of stuff. People throw stuff to be a part of the baseball league. And today we look around. My brother mentioned the real football, the non-American football, soccer, and the racism that those players experience. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I meant to mention yesterday on your show, Bakari. And thanks, guy. Like, you know, like black you know, and like I understand that black people are different groups and like, you know, like different kind of tribes, and you know, you go for a certain amount of distance, you're gonna have kind of different customs and cultures, not all the way different, but a little bit different. But if we was unified as a black people globally, you know what I'm saying, we could have, instead of arguing, we could have events like we had like the Black Olympics, where black people here compete with black people and all of this kind of stuff, and Olympic kind of stuff. But then when it comes to the World Olympics, you know what I'm saying, the best of all of us show up, you know what I'm saying, because that's how it's supposed to be, us working together. And that's really like a metaphor, kind of like, but it's probably a bad metaphor. And forgive me, I got a headache right now. So yeah, but definitely. And another solution, you know what I'm saying, we can do right now. We can come together and take the most successful black business leaders and elect them in, since we vote or die, and get our booties to the poll and vote or die, and we still died even though we voted. So we can vote for black leaders, business leaders, and we can all contribute to it. Make sure they stay transparent, you know what I'm saying? They do the things that they say they're going to do, but put them in charge of strictly funding and helping grow black businesses. And in return, those black businesses be put in black neighborhoods and hire black workers. And then, just keep our money circulating. And we can do that right now with no help from nobody else. You know what I'm saying? And it's actually going to take us building ourselves up to be able to compete, to fight, and all of these other things to get the things that we want to get. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. But, y'all brothers good, man?
I'm good, man. Hey, I didn't know Mahmoud was saying power to all people, but I do know this: the white folk burned his house down,
Right.
In Mississippi where he was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they burned his house down. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was definitely a target. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say he was I'm not saying it like that, you know what I'm saying? But you know how it was, like Stokely Carmichael was kind of on the power to all the people stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's just the way that they was just, speaking up for the poor peoples of the world, you understand? It's just that now we have to develop a mentality where we're speaking up for
Hey,
ourselves. You know?
forecast, I got to correct you. I can't let you do Stokely Carmichael like that. He coined the Black Power. He
He
went
did.
for He went for all. That's why he left the Black Panthers, because that's why he left Huey P. Newton them, because they were for power to everybody.
Yeah,
Now he
but
may have changed. I ain't saying you're wrong, but he may have changed. But
oh yeah,
he,
yeah.
but at
I'm just saying,
first,
like, because I couldn't play some of his speeches because he'd be like talking about power to like the Vietnam people. But he was spot on. I'm not against what he was saying. You know what I'm saying? He
oh,
was
I
just
didn't
talking
even know he
about
said that. See, I'm sorry. I
But wasn't
apologize.
that like on some like more like a communist type thing? So it was already places that had already embraced communism. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me.
yeah, yeah, you're right, And I'm not saying, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't believe Stokely Carmichael or Abdul Rauf was that kind of person. But we just have this black people have this power to all the people mentality. You know what I'm saying? All the oppressed people. You know what I'm saying? It's not an indictment, but you're definitely right. He coined black power. And he told them to stop getting punched in the face and take one of them out with you. And he was on black people. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, I'm just saying some of the speeches when he was talking about Vietnam and, other stuff like that, he was kind of saying, and I personally can't. That's why I just never played those particular speeches. But I still play Stokely Kwame Toure's speeches. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Yeah, God. Peace, God. Thanks for letting me come on your chat, God. Peace.
Yeah, peace to all the guys in the earth, my brother.
Hey, but you know something? That's a good show we have to talk about. Who taught us, regardless of what organization we're a part of, who taught us that we have to be for everybody?
That's a good question.
We got to, that's the show we need. Who told us that we have to, we trying to fix the whole world but can't fix ourselves? Now I'm finna go ahead and go out of here. Peace, bruh. One love.
Yeah, thanks, my brother. And facts, that's a fact. We definitely need to talk about that show. And I think it's a fear thing. We try to group up with everybody, but everybody don't want to be our friends. You know what I'm saying? We gotta accept that. Yeah, you good, Truth?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, yeah, I'm good. It was one thing about another sports thing, but it's not that. Not that. It's
No, go ahead and say it.
it was just another thing. As far as like having our own, I was noticing as I was watching the AFCON. I don't know if y'all ever heard of it. It's a like a national competition or a continent wide competition. Every continent got their own, and so all the African players that play all over the world, like big superstars, big names, their teams weren't allowing them to go play for their countries, and you had like some of the white managers saying like, oh, this contest is like it's kind of a nuisance. This little competition is a nuisance, and it caught like a lot of a lot of people felt some kind of way about it, and they should have. And that just all goes back to, again, it's just like having your own. You know what I'm saying? leagues and these things, whether sports, science, whatever. It's like if you have your own, nobody can really actually question you, and they wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Because you have your own ability to take care of yourself. So if they talk crazy or sideways or whatever, it's like whatever, man. I can still take care of myself. You need me more than I need you at this point. And yeah, and that's it. I'm leaving off at that.
All right, yeah. Thank you, and thank both of y'all for coming through, man, and staying up. I appreciate. Thanks, my brother Guy, Leotis Brown, Brother Supremacy, Julius Hall. I never seen you before. Thanks you.
That's
Thanks
me.
for coming on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I knew what I
Oh,
wanted
that's
to
you.
ask. Truth
Yeah,
884.
that's
Let me
me.
ask this before I get out of
Oh,
here.
man.
Hey, Truth 884,
cool.
right?
Yes, sir.
I know we hear people say black folks shouldn't go to this man's military, right? You was in the military, I was in the military.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that we could use the military to benefit us as a people? Some of the things that we learned in the military.
It's funny that you asked that. And I was thinking about that while I was driving today, and I'm kind of sort of split. Yes, you know what I'm saying. For those of us that are out here, with no direction and no aim whatsoever, that need some discipline in their lives, for sure. It's like I think the biggest thing is like some young brothers and sisters, they just need some structure. You know what I'm saying? If you point them in the right direction and you say, hey, this is what you need to do that, they just gonna run in that direction and they'll be fine. You know, um, but for the most part, I think it's kind of, I don't want to say a crutch because it's not a crutch. It just ends up becoming like a last ditch effort. So then you have people with like the wrong mentality and they go and you know what I'm saying, they kind of sort of take everything with them, the problems that they had with them to this place where they definitely don't have any control. And so sometimes it causes them to wild out. I've seen it happen. It happened to me. But yeah, I think it can work, especially if you got the mentality is like you're going there and you're gonna get everything that you can get because they're gonna try and take everything they can get from you. So you take everything you can get from them.
Oh, you say you was a gunner in the Marines?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you meet any of those gun-ho white boys that are only in the military for like 2 or 3 years?
Oh, of course. I
And
met
they
the ones
take
that's been their lifers
and
too.
they take all that information. That's why I'm telling you. And another reason I say it would be good. That's why you see white militias so organized
Yeah, definitely.
because
Definitely.
they have a military structure. Because they send their people to the. I was literally with some basic training and stationed with some 2-3 years.
Mhm.
That's why they have so much structure. The NFAC, when you saw them together, that's why they had some type of structure. They had military people.
It's funny, and that's true. That does help, but there's something that I've noticed, and you may or may not have noticed this. All right, I'm a Marine, right? So you'll find that there are people that, especially when it comes to white people, they have legacies. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the guys I was with, legacy. I know you have like talked to like people's like uh uh people came out to me was like, yo, I used to be in the Klan. I was like, yeah, I'm just going, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, just weird stuff. But anyway, the point is, what I'm trying to make is that you have people, they come from certain environments to begin with. So they either learn military life or like they're country boys. They straight up country. How many black folks you know hunt? I don't know any. I've never met any.
You don't know them.
I know I don't, and maybe because I grew up in Chicago outside of my grandfather. My grandfather, but he didn't teach me how to hunt. He grew up in the South. He grew up in Tennessee. So, he knew how to trap things. He knew how to hunt things for the most part, but he wasn't like a hunter, like running around in the woods with a rifle taking down bucks. Like that's not what he did. But it's just even knowing that little bit of stuff that he knew would have been great, what I'm saying, would have been helpful because if you know how to live off the land, like some of that stuff was not new to them at all. So the term culture shock. They didn't
Yeah.
have that culture shock. Some of them grew up on farms. They grew up in the woods. It was nothing to them.
I was stationed with this white boy. Well, we were in bases together because he didn't do active. And when they first start training you with your weapon, how they trying to teach you how to zero your weapon and all that, right?
Yep.
You white boys, drill sergeant from Kentucky. Now, drill sergeant, I know. I don't need you to talk about zero my weapon. I know how to shoot. I've been hunting squirrels and rabbits my whole life.
Yes.
Drill sergeant say,
yes, that happened to me too.
Drill sergeant say you gonna zero that weapon.
Right, you're gonna learn how to do it the right way.
Guess what?
It's like I don't care about no Kentucky windage. You gonna learn how to.
He never zeroed his weapon. He went to the range 4 times. This dude hit 160 targets out of 160 targets.
Right.
Yeah, man.
That's
go
great,
back.
and I say that because you know, and you've seen it, and it's the same here. It's like there's difference. There's a difference, and a lot of us don't have that in our families. None of us have been taught those things, but you know, some of us they pick it up and it's like a duck to water. I had a buddy that I was stationed with. He was from Alabama, and you know, he could run, he could swim. He ended up becoming a scout sniper, and you know what I'm saying. It's just, but he had like a different mentality because he was from the country, so he kind of he got it, he understood it, and so when his attitude was completely different than a lot of other people's attitudes, because the brother was like, in his, you can having conversations with like a lot of these brothers, like if they was from the South, they was like, man, everything was like, I'm not letting this white boy beat me at anything ever, you know, and that kind of rubbed off on me too, but because I didn't have the same mentality because I just grew up different, but they knew things, you know what I'm saying, and that's something that we don't have. So like that organization from the military, it does play a part, but some of them already got that. So like they just grew up like that. They out there hunting from the time that they
Take
like
it back. Hey, watch this before we close out, because I know forecast finna close and we gonna go. But be honest, when you was in the military and you met brothers from down south, right?
Yeah.
Then white per that statement you just said, ain't gonna let them be. Black people from down south knew who the enemy was. Or when you met them, when you saw them at 18 years old, they knew who the enemy was. We knew who the enemy, because I'm from Mississippi, so they knew who the enemy was, right?
Yeah.
More
For
people,
sure.
more people up north, from up northern states, was trying to, would not trying to, but they would blend in more with white folks, right or wrong.
That's true, and I gotta admit, I'm gonna be 100% honest. That was me. Not saying that I didn't hang out with any brothers from down south, because I did. Like they felt like they was like my brothers. Like I had a partner. He was from Northern California. That's why I was like, I know how the cats from the Bay Area get down. His name was Reed. Cool brother. But yeah, but for like a long time, it's just like when I first got there, that's who I am, because in the Marine Corps, it's mostly white guys anyway. It is. So I knew how to kind of sort of blend in, and if that make any sense. So I did get along with a lot of people, you know, and I did meet some cool people. But for the by and large, yeah, the brothers from the South, man, it was a different time for them. And I remember one instance where my buddy Parrish got into a fight with my buddy Ickpot. Interestingly enough, Ickpot's from St. Louis, and his parents are from Nigeria. He's a firstborn Nigerian, so he was in the military, right? I also knew a brother named Coker. Coker was from Sierra Leone by way of, but his parents came to the United States and they lived in Maryland. But they were both Africans, right? I would have never known that unless they told me. That's one thing. Second thing is, Parrish and Parrish and Ickpot got into a fight, and I had one non-commissioned officer that was black. I had a first sergeant that was black. First sergeant found out about this, but instantaneously my staff sergeant pulled both of them aside. He was like, y'all shouldn't be fighting each other at all. He was like, I never want to hear about this again. He was like, you surrounded by all these white boys. If you're gonna fight anybody, you should be fighting them. I don't ever want to hear about y'all fighting each other ever again. And that was the end of that.
Yep. People think I just be talking when I tell them, like, man, we knew. It was never us going there saying we gonna be cool with everybody. I'm gonna say this. I know I said I'm gonna say this for real. This is my last time. I was at Station at Fort Lee, Virginia, and we sitting down chilling. And these black girls brought this white girl to the table with her and this white dude. I'm like, what the hell y'all bringing them white folks up there? It was me, my partner from Arkansas, and my partner from Louisiana. You're like, what the hell? What they bringing these white folks down the table for? Man, we already knew. Because, look, people can talk about integration, and they can say, but I promise you, you come to the South. If you come to Mississippi with me, I can show you towns right now. You ain't going to see no white folks. If you sit down, I can take you somewhere, you're going to see white folk. White folk and black folk ain't together in the same spots and ain't trying to be around one another like that. That's just a fact. That is a fact.
I don't doubt it. I don't.
We were not trying to be around them like that.
I don't doubt it.
I can take you to about, man, if you were to come where I'm from, all these little towns little. Like I'm from the smallest little village. I'm not even a real town. I'm from a village, about 500 people. But take you to about 4 or 5 different towns, 3, 4, 5,000 people. For every white person you see in all them towns combined, I'll give you $100. I bet you might leave with none. If you go there on a good day, you might leave. I'm talking about you go to each one of these towns.
Yeah.
Go to each one of these towns.
I believe it. I believe it.
And on a good day, you might get $100.
You know what? I got my mom's from Mississippi, so yeah, she don't necessarily have all the greatest stories from being down there either. So, but oh, interesting fact. I just wanted to share this real quick. The picture of that man right there, and this is for like the FBAs and the ADOSs and mostly FBAs. My brother considers himself ADOS. He went to the Air Force, by the way. But anyway, but he got a slightly different mentality, and that's why, you know, we're brothers. But we learned a couple different things when I didn't grow up learning all this stuff. Like, it's many a cast has been, you know, ardent Pan-Africanists from the time that they was, you know, born to not. And I'm just like learning a bunch of new stuff, even though I learned some things when I was little. But that man in the picture is my grandfather. He was in the Army, right? I did not know this because he had he had mental issues, you know what I'm saying? And can't nobody hurt him now, no way. So I'm about to share this stuff anyway. So okay. But that man right there, and I just found this out. Not only was he like highly decorated for his time, he was doing embassy duty. And my grandmother, from her stories, she said that he actually was in Africa. But either way it goes, he eventually ended up going to Africa, because I thought I was the first person in my family to go to Africa, but I was wrong, because I wasn't raised with that side of my family. But he was a Pan-Africanist, and that's where she said she got it from. So if my grandfather, a man is a highly decorated Army soldier, can turn around and say Africa is for Africans, and you know what I'm saying, like, we should all get along and we should all be working together, there is no foundational Black American that should be able to argue with that, because that man literally fought for this country. He ended up basically losing his mind for this country. So that's pure evidence that we need to be working together. If for me,
you know what? My pops didn't go to Africa, but that's what he would say. We black folk. That was my pops. My pops fought in World War II. He didn't go to Africa, but he would say, they black, them our people. We African, them our people right there. And he fought in World War II. No, you don't go out here, you don't bang on your folk. But man, Forecast, you finna close out. Hey, look, you got my email right, True?
I do. And I was gonna hit you up
one day. I'm gonna bring you on one day. We're gonna do an interview about things we can use from the military.
Oh, hey, I'm down. That's a great idea.
All right, bro. All right, Forecast.
Yeah, thank y'all, brothers, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, and shout out to y'all, you know, family and the work that they put in. And yeah, to answer the question, I've only known one Black family that goes hunting on, like, shooting real, you know, stuff like that. I tried to go with them one time, but I don't know what happened. We ended up not going. But you know, they get up at like 3, 4 in the morning, all that, you know what I'm saying, go out to the county and, you know what I'm saying, go hunting. So, but that's definitely a skill that we're gonna need. And the more the grocery stores is empty, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna have to need that.
You're a city boy, Forecast. He a city boy. I know a family used to go hunt them damn crows and eat them crows when they got home.
Yeah, I'm too city for that.
Yes,
I don't know about
you're
eating
gonna ask
crows.
yes. So I didn't answer that question, but yes, I know Because I'm from Mississippi, little small village, and I know a lot of black people go hunting. They go deer hunting, rabbit hunting, coon hunting, squirrel hunting. They go hunt wild hogs. Yes, I know a lot of black people that do that.
Well, I need to meet them. Matter of fact, you need to. You know what? Side note, you need to like start, or not need to. It will be great if people like you ended up connecting with people like myself, because I've wanted to like take people camping. I wanted to like, because I'm not averse to going out to the wilderness. I've done it before. I know how to shoot, but I've never gone hunting. And I think that would be something excellent to offer to like kids in the city. Like for real. If you really stop and think about it, that's you like, again, military, the bonding that it creates. It's like you learn a greater respect for life. You know what I'm saying? I got out the military. I honestly don't even like guns like that. I don't even want to technically carry one, because I know that if I have to use one, I most certainly will use one. I just don't want to use one. You feel me? Because 9 times out of 10, the only people that's going to be attacking me is going to be like other black people anyway, if that were to happen, which they don't. And I'm in Chicago, so you know what I'm saying, do the math. But yeah, to me that would be something that's so excellent, because bro, like, you'd be surprised how many young men are seeking that kind of sort of like to have a relationship with other older black, pause. To have mentors, you know what I'm saying? To have mentors that can show them those kind of things. Because once somebody get their mind open to something that they've never seen before, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. Like, my dad used to take me fishing when I was little. I hated it. Now I want to go fishing now. I don't. Like, I started going kayaking just because, like, now I know how to kayak. If somebody asks me, hey, do you know how to kayak? Like, yeah. If you need to get away on a kayak, I can help you get away on a kayak. I know how to use a bow and arrow. I had to learn how in high school, but that's stuff that I'm willing to share with people. And I think that that's something that people would love to learn. Like, young men will young men would love to learn.
I believe they would love to learn it too. But yeah, man, we're gonna do that show, and we're gonna talk about the pros and the cons of the military.
Yeah, it's a great topic.
All right, Forecast. Thanks, bro. Peace,
Oh,
peace,
yeah.
brother Supremacy, Leota Brown, Robert X. Peace, peace, peace.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's a great show. And that's another reason why we have these broadcasts, you know what I'm saying, where we got to use what we have. And now, you know what I'm saying, you two brothers have met, and now y'all can talk, and now y'all could do plan, and you know what I'm saying, like, and there's another thing, we should be prepared for whatever comes, because we see, speaking of hunting, when the brother Peter Spencer tried to go hunting with his white friends and he ended up dead, you know what I'm saying? But we could be attacked at any time. And I understand what Brother Supremacy is saying about his own kind, and unfortunately that is the truth right now. And we need to learn self-love and all of that. But there's nothing wrong with being protected, and everybody who can use the Second Amendment of the America in America, I suggest you do it, And so shout out to both of these brothers. I can't wait to hear that show. And right, Leotis Brown, we have to learn how to hunt, because we will have to do that. And that's coming sooner than we like to admit or think, you know what I'm saying? So I want to thank everybody, and shout out to and what's going on, Robert X. So shout out to you, my brother. And shout out to Raw, and shout out to Erica Howard. And thank all of y'all for coming. Shout out to Truth 884 and Intwa Demela Bakari. Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel and everybody else's channel. But as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're going to keep falling for anything.